Hi, everybody. Welcome back to SaaS Founder Stories. Today, we're going to have some fun and go through a really cool build that we did here at Arkeo for our development team. And so, what we actually built was our own custom coding agent that's connected to our GitHub through an MCP server and with the ability for us to choose any of the LLM products on the market to connect to. And so we did that because for us, we had a lot of complexity across front and back end code bases, and we can see the models getting just so much better that we know that with an MCP server and it auto updating, this is going to be super powerful for the team. And we believe that every dev team is going to need a code assistant that's trained on their code. So some of the big challenges that drove us to actually build it was that we had pretty complex code bases. We had that in Safety Evolution and Arkeo, and we have it now in our new product, Linda, as well. And manually trying to get that information to be able to work with was really, really challenging. We tried things like assistants and GPTs prior to that, but what we kept running into was because the development process was so quick, our documents and our information in each of those systems was actually becoming massive burden to try and keep up to date. And so we're always looking at ways that you can actually get AI to help you with these workflows and make it faster. And then I think the other one that's really interesting to us is the loss of tribal knowledge. So when you have multiple developers over many years of building, you lose so much of that knowledge if you're not capturing it. And so you want to be able to create really detailed notes on everything that you're building, not just in the code base, but in your documentation. And so this is going to be something that really helps with that. And then the final piece for us was being able to communicate with the code, search it, even systems like Cursor and stuff like that. Now, it's challenging to find the intricacies, and so by connecting this to an MCP server, you're allowing yourself to have semantic search across your whole code base. And so, what did we build? We actually went in and we started with a mono repo, and then infrastructure, we created the MCP, exposed it, then we implemented a vector store layer and added authentication and roles. And we thought that was important because uh, across your organization, you may not want certain aspects of the code base being readily available. And so this gives you just this extra level of security. And it also means that your team has to log in. So if you have your IP in your code base, this is going to protect you. So make sure that you don't skip that. Um, and then we built the ingestion worker so that it actually can go and get your code base daily or on every change, depending on your hooks, and bring that new code into your vector embedding layer. And so I think that's a really cool function in itself, that you're always up to date with the newest data in your system. And then once we actually had that built, we built the integration and unit tests, and then finished off with front end UI web interface. And so we just went with super simple chat interface, but we expect that we'll be building a little bit extra onto that as we go along. And so that took us about uh, a week and a half, 2 weeks to build out. But we're already seeing some really cool wins because of that. And so this is kind of like the architecture of the system, connects to your GitHub. And what's cool there is you can have more than one repo. So thinking like you have your backend repo, maybe you have a web application, maybe you have a mobile application. all of this can be connected into one place and available through your DB and the API into that chat. And the tool layer, I think, is pretty cool because as you need more out of it, or as you work and learn with it, you can create more tools that will help you. And I think this will be really the beginning of transitioning from having a code base that's just sitting there to one that you're really interacting with, and probably will be your agent layer in the future. You can already connect this MCP layer into your cursor interface. So if you don't know that already, check that out. And so this is like how you're going to be able to connect agents into your actual code base and allow you to really speed up. And some version of this is how the big players are actually coding 80 to 90% of their code with AI now. So some of the use cases that we're currently using this for in chat is project planning, which is a big one. If you've got a big feature that's coming and you want to be able to go in and start planning with it, O3 is incredible for reasoning. And so think about like O3, but it knows all of your code. So when you're actually working with it and planning out those documents, it's it's like your CTO. And then DevDoc creations, because it understands all of the existing documentation and system, it can help your team with that. We love it for technical requirement documents or project requirement documents, because when you're thinking about, okay, how does this new build that we're doing or feature or piece that we're putting on, how does it connect, and what are the what are the things that we need to be aware of? And then you also have, like I said before, that custom tool layer. And so now you're able to access the code and do things across there. And of course, connecting to Cursor. So let's talk about use cases. So we use this for project planning. Obviously, that's such a powerful ability for the LLM to know your code base like a CTO. That's pretty freaking incredible. And then DevDoc creations, obviously, for everything that you're making now, you want to have really specific documentation available. The next one is technical requirement documents. So technical requirements, project requirement documents, having those be able to be written by an LLM that knows everything about your project is so powerful, especially when you start thinking about taking that document, putting it into Cursor, putting it into your systems, putting in your project planning or your task planning, your sprints. You're able to break it down, and your developers are able to see all the things that they actually need to do, and it reduces the amount of workload for them substantially because everything's right there. Code queries, really, really incredible to be able to go in and start asking questions about the code, finding all kinds of information that's buried deep in there. And then custom tool layers, like I said before, this is going to be such a powerful thing in the future. Anthropic is actually chatting about a new model that they brought out that actually we think will be available for this, and it's very similar to the ability that in Cursor, but just steps past that. And so this is going to be some of the amazing things that you're going to be able to do by having one of these. And if you guys are thinking about building one, let us know. And we're always here to chat, and we can send you over the architecture and help you out. Hope you're having an amazing day, and thanks for tuning in.